This morning I put superglue on my daughter's backpack and it burst into flames. What strange science things have you discovered firsthand, by accident? When he was younger, my friend had a babysitter leave his turtles outside because it was a cool, overcast day and he had to clean out the cage. Enter sun. Stage west, and those poor suckers cooked in their shells. TLDR, don't fricking leave turtles in the sun. My mom did this when I was a kid. She wanted to give our baby turtles a taste of nature without them running away. They died. It was one of the only times my dad has ever cried. I made a wolf head for a costume with styrofoam teeth. Then I thought, hey, why not put some nail polish on the teeth to preserve them? The nail polish melted the styrofoam. I was very sad. Getting up in the middle of the night for a glass of water, lights out, natch, and seeing the ice cubes illuminate as I twisted them out of the tray. Found out years later that it's called triboluminescence. Has to be very dark and with your eyes completely acclimated. If you fill a glass bottle with an aluminum top, used to use soap bottles, about 1 stroke 3 full of gasoline and place in fire, the container will pressuring as it heats up until the aluminum top fails, shooting a big fireball in the air and huge smoke ring. Make sure you put enough gasoline in the bottle. If there's less than 1 stroke 8 of the bottle filled with gas, the pressure will build too fast and the bottle will explode, sending glass all over your friend's backyard. I like how the default place to do this is your friend's backyard and not yours. Don't put salt on your hand and hold it down with ice. I don't know why I did it in the first place, but after taking the ice off, the part of my hand with the salt on it was completely white and hard. I learned later that I froze my skin cells in that area by pushing extremely cold salt into my hand. Left a weird mark for a while. That's called frostbite. I learned that one should never, ever set fire to any amount of the liquid that comes out of those compressed air cans. 2 or 3 drops ended up filling my apartment with an extremely nasty smell for a couple of hours. It also gives off hydrogen fluoride and carbon monoxide. No, I did not do this intentionally. Bitterant. Taking a gallon jug, ball of aluminum foil, and some toilet cleaner with the lid shut will create a fragmentation bomb. I learned this when I got a piece of bottle stuck into my siding. I once used an eyedropper to suck a single, adult sea monkey out of its aquarium. I then squirted him into a bottle cap full of vodka. This caused him to start swimming around in circles at about 3 times the normal sea monkey speed, but it didn't kill him. I then sucked him back into the eyedropper and squirted him back into the aquarium with the general population. That night, he murdered all of his fellow monkeys and then offed himself. Somehow. Science. He became Russian in those few seconds, obviously. Put gasoline in bucket. Throw firecracker in bucket. Gas did not catch fire. Clearly the next logical thing to do is light the firecracker inside of the bucket with my head right above it. So yay, it's the vapor that catches fire. My friend thought it was hysterical, cackling maniacally while spraying me with a garden hose. To be fair, I think it's pretty hysterical too, and I didn't even get to chortle while hosing you down. In my backyard there was a bucket of rainwater. Some algae had formed in it and after that a fly laid eggs in it, starting a colony of water maggots. I was disgusted by it and decided I'd just dump some chemicals in there and see what happened. I grabbed ammonia glass cleaner, Dawn dish soap, and bleach. I grabbed a pot and threw in the glass cleaner, soap, and then the bleach. It started bubbling like crazy and heating up. Bubbles were everywhere. Didn't think much of it and dumped it into the bucket and cleaned up the bubbles. I looked up the ingredients and found that I had made mustard gas. The dish soap made bubbles of mustard gas, which saved my life. I was blown away. I once tried to repair a pull in a Berber carpet with superglue. It didn't ignite, but became unsettlingly hot while I held down the fiber. Guess it wasn't cheap acrylic after all. I made hard-boiled eggs and tried one after they had cooled. Realized they weren't quite done. Still a bit gooey in the middle. So I put one in the microwave for 20-30 seconds. Bit into it, and the center exploded into a ball of molten yolk and burned the crap out of my lips and face. TLDR, never microwave an egg. This is hilarious, especially because soft-boiled eggs are superior to hard-boiled eggs anyway. When I was young I had an electric heating blanket on my bed that I accidentally spilled some dry Cocoa Puffs on. I went to the kitchen to get stuff to clean up my mess, and when I got back my bed was on fire. Turns out old 1970s electric blankets and highly flammable food don't mix well. Parents didn't let me have another electric blanket. Good memories. Do not, I repeat, do not ever put aluminum foil, can any aluminum, into a product containing Neo, Drano, Red Devil, or similar. Do not do this. Especially do not put the Drano into a 1 liter bottle, add aluminum foil, put the cap on and then shake it. You will probably not survive. This creates a highly flammable pressure bomb as the H is liberated during the reaction. Outside of a container this is still dangerous as it can catch fire and explode. Also do not clean up old cat pee with bleach. Don't. It gets fizzy and releases chloramine gas. I'm a chemist and I should have thought about this, but wasn't thinking about the ammonia in the week's old cat pee. I used to get fake nails put on when I could afford it, and I knew in the back of my mind that nail polish is flammable, but then I was using a lighter and my fingernail caught on fire. I was so shocked. I was so shocked. Well, yeah, your hands are on fire. Nail polish remover pure ultra melts common plastics. Stupid me decided to take apart my keyboard and clean up the soda I had spilled into it. Most of the sugary mess came up, except for some stubborn places. Use nail polish remover and now my F1 key is welded to my keyboard. My sister discovered this trying to remove makeup from a Barbie and the face melted right off. A lit cigarette will not ignite liquid gasoline. I've watched 3 different people lose money on this bet. Apparently people watch too much TV. You can take a can of gasoline, pour a puddle on the ground, and drop a lit cigarette into it, and the cigarette will go out. Note, it is very easy to blow light crap on fire when fricking with gasoline. The actual sparking of a cigarette lighter to light the cigarette very easily can ignite gasoline fumes. A cigarette which is being dragged on, causing the cherry to spark and grow, could potentially ignite gasoline fumes. Don't think you're safe smoking around gas. Don't blow yourself or anyone else up. Just saying, a cigarette which is already lit, when dropped into liquid gasoline, will not ignite it. Even if you have chiseled abs and stunning features, it doesn't mean that you can't die in a freak gasoline fight accident. Filling a basketball with gasoline, lighting a rag that is sticking out of it on fire, then trying to kick it around like a soccer ball will only lead to a trail of flames on the ground for 10-15 seconds. Followed by the ball completely catching on fire while you and your friends run away on your bikes with the sound of fire trucks in the background and a huge pillar of smoke oddly close to where you were playing fire kickball. I sense a sequel to basketball coming on, only this one involves fire, thus making it better. Don't abuse deodorant sprays. I sprayed it on my hand as a youth to see how long I could do it for, and it left a nasty rash scar on my hand that I have till this day. Well, maybe it's about time you stopped spraying. When I was in grade 11 chemistry, my friend and I were adding chemicals to a test tube, and apparently it wasn't cleaned properly, so a yellow gas started to rise from it. My friend was holding it while I turned to the teacher and said, "UHH sir, we didn't get the reaction you said we should." He basically jumped his counter, screamed everyone out and grabbed the test tube and threw it under the fume hood. He came out into the hall, looked at my friend and said, "Congrats Kevin, you made mustard gas." If you chew a wintergreen lifesaver in front of a mirror in a dark room, your mouth would glow from the sparks it creates due to triboluminescence. I learned the hard way that hooking up 2 paper clips to a 120V plug wire for an old stereo is not a good way to make a Jacob's ladder. You just end up making a bunch of sparks and burning holes in your comforters. And hopefully throwing breakers. I was playing in a disc golf tournament with a new pair of shoes. One of the soles separated and started rubbing against my foot in an uncomfortable manner. During the lunch break I superglued it back together. I immediately put my shoe back on and it started getting really hot. I ripped it off my foot and it burst into flames. The people standing around watched in amazement as I tossed the shoe and it burnt then melted down to the rubber. I played the rest of the day in one shoe. I took it back to Foot Locker the next day, and the lady asked me what the heck happened as she was the one to sell me the shoes the day before. and I told her with the straightest face I could that they had burst into flames and almost took me with them. She actually gave me a full refund and apologized. TLDR. My shoes burst into flames and the shoe saleswoman apologized. That it is almost impossible to swallow a spoonful of cinnamon BC, it dries out your throat so much. Everyone knows this now, like cinnamon just randomly evolved into a choking hazard overnight, but I remember hearing about this years ago before going viral and watching a friend gag trying to do it. Good times. I wish I had never tried this. Now I can't enjoy anything that's vaguely cinnamon related. It's been 4 years, for Christ's sake. My boyfriend and I put cologne in a metal coffee can and set it on fire. It still had the plastic label on the outside. It did this really cool effect where it starts in the top and a beam of fire would move down the outside of the can. That was kinda cool. A few years ago I was connecting my VHS player to my old analog TV. It was only connected to the wall by a power cord, and we didn't have cable or satellite. I put my finger on connection port on the TV and all of a sudden we got reception from a previous snowball fight screen. I took my finger on and off again and got the same result. I was acting like the antennae. Our kids will never understand what it means to be the kid who has to stand in the corner covered in tin foil and holding the rabbit ears up at a weird angle to watch TV. There's an old Boy Scout trick for cooking a raw egg over a campfire on a stick. Find a safe stick, use something non-poisonous, skin it, smooth it, put a point on it, then skewer the egg right through its shell. Do this carefully so that you only have entrance and exit holes in the eggshell. Then hold the whole thing over the fire and let the egg cook. Here's the tricky part. Don't let it heat up too fast. And put a small third hole in the top of the egg to let the gas escape. If you fail to do this, you will see the leaking egg make an airtight seal around the stick. This creates a pressure cooker bomb. Source: I learned where the saying, "He got egg on his face" came from. We were doing an electronics lesson in science class and had been given variable voltage transformers and alligator clips. I, having heard that graphite from mechanical pencils could work similarly to the filament in light bulbs, decided to connect it to the transformer. At 3 volts, nothing happened. At 6 volts, again nothing. At 9 volts, I'd almost given up. At 12 volts, it shone very brightly for about a second and a half. And then exploded in a shower of scalding hot molten carbon. Science. Painful, burning science. 'Tis the winter. A friend and I once went into a Wendy's and I had a metal one-hitter pipe in my pocket that was super hot from just smoking out of it. We sat down to eat and I decided to cool it down by putting it on the window ledge against the cold window. Said window shattered. I've destroyed more than one glass baking pan by taking it directly out of the oven and setting it on the counter during winter. I had a shirt one time that I really liked. It was heavy cotton, kind of an olive dark green color, and it really worked well as a light jacket for fall, plus it was aging very well and just looked better the older it got. I had it for several years, at least 4 or 5. I started to notice a smell when I wore it, like burning rubber or plastic. At first I didn't correlate the shirt and the smell, but eventually I made the connection. What seemed to be happening was when sunlight hit the shirt it started to smell, and the more intense the sun the stronger the smell. I finally figured it out by going outside with the shirt and putting one sleeve in the sun and one in the shade and then smelling them after a few minutes. The smell was definitely coming from the shirt after it was hit by sunlight. I tried to wash it in a couple of different ways to fix it, but nothing worked and I ended up throwing the shirt out. Your shirt wasn't cotton, it was woven vampire hair. This one time when I was a kid, I accidentally made mustard gas with nothing but my ammonia-filled urine and an overly bleached urinal. It was weird. You didn't make mustard gas, you made chloramine vapor, which is still toxic. I was at a Thanksgiving get-together one year when someone put a glass pan of casserole on top of a burner they didn't realize was still on. I walked into the kitchen and pointed out that the casserole was bubbling violently, when my brother took it off the burner and set it on a cooling rack. A few seconds later we heard a loud pop and glass and casserole went flying everywhere. That was the day I learned the dangers of rapid temperature change. But casserole is the best kind of casserole. Super cooled water. When I was a kid there was a new mini fridge freezer my mom bought that came with an ice tray. I filled it with water, put it in the freezer, and a week later it still wasn't frozen. I took it out and put a straw in one of the ice cube cups, and instantly it turned from water to slush. I put the straw in the next one, stirred it a bit, and the same thing happened. Apparently if water is extremely pure, and is being kept in a container in perfect condition, like a shiny new ice tray, that has no scratches or anything, the ice crystals can't form. They need something to hold onto to form, be it particles of dust in the water, or a scratch on the ice tray's surface. Basically water can go well below its freezing temperature and not freeze until it's agitated. Superheated water is also possible. Water well above its boiling point that doesn't boil until agitated. I had a goldfish as a kid that lived for almost 10 years. Whenever he would go upside down, I'd put some of my mom's Advil in the tank, maybe 1 or 2 pills, and stir it around. As soon as it would start to dissolve, he'd go crazy swimming around and perk up. Then, I'd put him in some clean, cold water, and he'd be good for another few months. I figured if it helped my mom feel better, it'd help my fish. Now I think it might have been cruel of me. Someone told me that putting icy hot on your balls will hurt really bad. I tried it out and it actually feels soothing. Try it out for yourself. Don't ever do this if you cherish your nerves. The skin on your face is much more sensitive than the skin on your leg. Learned this when I thought I could use Nair instead of shaving. Not my proudest moment. I brought some fried squid home from a restaurant. Next day, I try to heat it in the microwave and it all freaking explodes. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.